What's up, Tribe? How you guys doing? This is your review for Basketball Wives, Season 8, Episode 2. So this episode ain't really give us a whole lot. We got some stuff going on, but not as explosive as last week was. We start the episode off. We see Evelyn talking to Shawnee. I mean, not Shawnee, talking to her daughter Shanice, and her daughter was expressing that she was really hurt by the whole situation with Jennifer. Um, we see Jackie. Um, Kristen and Jennifer go to the nail salon and getting their nails done, and they get to talk about what happened at the at the party or whatever. And of course, Jen is still playing like she don't understand why everybody mad at her and what the problem is, and she ain't do nothing wrong, and what the issue is, and this, that, and the other. And then Kristen is talking about the situation with Cece, and she was saying how Malaysia set up a dinner for them to sit down and talk and try to hash everything out. Um, And then we got London coming into the mix. Now, London is Byron's daughter, Kristen's sister-in-law. And she's had her own set of issues with CC. And so they're going to all sit down and try to talk this whole thing out. Jackie is playing peacemaker. And Jackie's thing is, I really feel like we can save these friendships. Let's all sit down and we need to hash it out. So Jackie is going to have a crystals event. Oh no, this is before she invites them to the crystals event. But anyway, she said that she just really feels like they can work things out. We see Miss OG and Tammy at an exercise class. Look kind of interesting what they doing, some fitness. And of course, they're talking again. They're talking as well. And she tells them about, she's OG is giving Tammy the update on what happened at the party because Tammy was in and out. She said, I'm like a Pop Tart. Pop me in and pop me back out. She said, I ain't got time for all of this. So they're giving her the update on what happened and who did what and who said what and how it all went down. So they discussing how Malaysia wants to try to work things out. OG says she's retiring from football. That is it's just wear and tear on her body. She's ready to get married, have some babies, and she just feel like it's time for her to move on to something else. And then they started talking about Cece and Kristen and everything in Malaysia. And Tammy is like, I understand that Malaysia wants to help out, that's family and that she wants to try to resolve everything. She said, but at the end of the day, Malaysia, she said, I don't know if Malaysia really should get in the middle of it. And they end up calling Malaysia on FaceTime. And while they're on FaceTime, OG starts talking about, well, I know a lot about what's going on behind the scenes and I know more than what other people know. And so I have my own opinion based on that. And so Tammy was like, okay, I ain't know nothing about all this extra information you had. And I wouldn't have called Malaysia on FaceTime with no mess. Like I ain't calling her about no gossip and no mess. I was just calling to check in on her and see how she doing. And so OG is up to her. OG got her shady shit going on again this year. Remember, she always had it out for Kristen. She never liked Kristen. So I was like, okay, OG got some shit. We're gonna see how that work out. Shawnee, Jackie, and Evelyn meet up, and that's when Jackie lets them know that she's gonna be having a crystals party and that she really feels like they need to talk it out. And of course, Evelyn is like, look, if she can't, oh, excuse me, if she can't own up to what she did and really admit to what she did, and then how do we work through it? Like, there's no way we can work through this if she still is sticking to her story that she didn't say it, she didn't do nothing. And Jackie is like, look, at the end of the day, I was once Jennifer, and I understand how she feels, and I understand that she's like, oh man, out. But at the same time, I just feel like this can be salvaged. I feel like these friendships can be saved. And, I want to have this crystal party. So let's all get together. And so, they were like, all right, we're going to come, but we don't know how we necessarily feel about this whole situation. But they decided to come. They agreed to come. And I'm talking about the crystals, like the healing crystals and stuff like that. So then we have Malaysia, Kristen, London, and Cece. They're meeting over to Malaysia's house to talk this whole situation out. Malaysia's thing is, look, we're family. We need to act like family. We need to get past this so we can get back to being family. We got weddings coming up. We got kids in the mix. Malaysia just wants everybody to be kumbaya. So They done already said that London is a Spitfire. Now I don't know, London. She don't have no cut cards, so I was like, all right, here we go with this. So the minute Cece walks in, she's automatically on edge because her thing is, why is London here? I thought this was a meeting between me and Kristen with Malaysia as mediator. Now I feel like it's two against one, and I feel a little ganged up on one. And I don't necessarily blame her because London did have an attitude off the break. Like London was coming out of left field. And the conversation went down like they addressed the issue. And they came back to the same situation like last year when they were in Amsterdam with them blaming, or at least to me, it seemed like they were blaming Cece on what their father was doing. And Cece was like, how is that my fault? Like, if he chooses not to see his grandchildren or not call y'all or whatever, how do y'all blame me for it? And of course, their attitude is, well, it wasn't like this before you were around. But at the same time, Brown a grown ass man. And so Cece was like, look, I try. Because at first she got up like she was going to get out of there and picked up herself because she was like, I feel like y'all ganging up on me. Y'all yelling at me. Like, y'all raising y'all voices. It's two against one. And I felt where she was coming from. Although she did raise her voice first. But I did feel where she was coming from, like, feeling like she was being ganged up on. And Cece was like, I tried. I tried. I want to be there for Byron and his family and his kids. Like, I want to be that person for everybody. And they were like, well, how do you think you're doing with that? And she took a long pause and she was like, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. And that sort of pacified them like, okay, well, that's all we can ask is that you try. That's all we can ask. But again, I mean, I'm kind of sitting there like, I don't know what it is, because Cece was like, Byron is not upset. Byron is upset about what you said out of your mouth. Like, he ain't upset over no innuendos and no, he's upset about what he heard you say on TV in front of the whole world. Like, that's your issue with Byron. London, I don't even know why the fuck you here. So I kind of was with Cece on this whole situation because I feel like as, and don't get me wrong, I'm not with Cece on everything. But in this particular scenario, now Cece, oh, the other thing that came up was her telling Evelyn and the girls that Byron doesn't want her at the wedding. And she said, you know what? I will take responsibility for that because you're right. I shouldn't have said anything before Byron had an opportunity to talk to um his son about the situation. Because she was like, I went home and told my husband, and that hurt him. And so she was like, you're right. And on that, I was wrong. I was wrong for saying anything about it. I was wrong for speaking on it because that wasn't my conversation to have. So that came out and that was valid. Um, but at the end of the day, they hugged. Now, ain't nothing happened. They said they're gonna take baby steps and they're gonna, slowly try to get things back to a good place. But nothing was 100% resolved at that meeting. But I think some of the animosity was sort of deflated a little bit. I feel like they made some ground, some headway, but again, nothing was 100% resolved. Um, Jackie meets up with Jennifer, and Jennifer done bought herself a friend. She bought herself a friend. I think it's really a bodyguard that she dressing up as like make it look like one of her friends. I think she'd have hired somebody. She worried that Evelyn gonna get that ass. But Jackie meets up with them, and she basically telling Jennifer, look, I know you've been going through a lot. I know you kind of odd man out. I know how you feeling, but I really feel like we need to all come together and try to work it out. So that's when she invites Jennifer to the crystal party. At first Jennifer was like, I don't, I ain't got nothing to do with this. They hate me. I don't want to be around it. But then she got a little emotional. Again, she was, talking about her mom and how it's just been a really hard time for her and a really rough time for her, and that she would think about it. That she would think about coming to the crystal event. So, then we see Kristen, her husband in London, and basically he asked how did the conversation go with CC, and they were like, well, baby steps. He was like, well, what that mean, baby steps? They were like, well, baby steps. Like nothing's been 100% resolved, but we're in a better. Sorry, y'all, it's a group chat. Something going on, and they bloop 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 bloop. But we talked. We're in a better place. Um, they talked about the wedding and who's invited to the wedding and all that stuff again. And the husband is basically like, look, what no, she might be upset with you for saying what you said about him not visiting his child, but you didn't lie. And I was like, ooh, he said, you ain't told no lie. Like he doesn't come over, he doesn't visit, with his grandchild. So he might be upset that it was said, but it wasn't a lie told. And that's when they were saying, he just hasn't been the same since he started messing with Cece. But one thing that her husband said that I thought was valid was he said, we just going to have to deal with the fact that our father is in love with this woman, and we're going to have to figure out how to maneuver in this new space. So, and that's really what it boils down to. It was a lot of mess even surrounding Byron and Cece hooking up to begin with. So, it's definitely going to be some mess with that. Anyway, we got a new character that's being introduced. She coming in through Evelyn. Her name is CB, I think. She's the ex-wife of Lance Stevenson. She's from New York, and honey, she rough. She is New York. She is rough, very New York, and she ain't no nonsense. And I feel like she gonna stir the pot. I think she a baby Evelyn, honey. She a baby Evelyn. Hold on, let me see. Let me try to turn this off. Dang on it. I don't know why it took me so long. But she's a baby Evelyn, and of course Evelyn is like, yes, she's from New York like me, and she's very Cardi B-ish to me, like the accent and sort of some of her mannerisms. But she was alright in this episode, but I definitely see the potential for this to be go left with her. But we're gonna keep that on back burner for now. Reggie and Tammy. If you watched their little special last week, they highlighted how they got married and how they went and eloped and they didn't include the kids and stuff. And now her daughters are really angry with her. And so they're trying to figure out, well, how can we make it up to the kids? Because I mean, we married now, ain't nothing we could do about it. But what can we do to include the kids? So she invites her daughters over and they talk or whatever. And their daughters are like, we're really hurt. Like we were really hurt by it. And with some tears. And Tammy said, look, and Reggie said, blame me. It was my idea for us to elope, blame me. I think what happened was Tammy finally agreed to do it, and Reggie was like, hell, I can't wait for her to say she might change her mind tomorrow. We're gonna do it today. And that's how he was. He was like, we're going to Vegas right now. Right now. We are going to Vegas right now. Because hell, Tammy would have woke up the next day and changed her mind. So I think if he had put it to her kids like that, they might have been like, oh yeah, that's true. They know their mama. But she it seems like she said that they're going to come up with something to make it up to the girls. And they said, well, why are you not telling everybody else you married? She said, because, one, it's not really their business. And two, I don't know if they're even happy for me. Like, at this point, there's such history between me and these girls that I don't even know if that's something they would be happy with me. And I don't have to, I'm too happy for anybody to bring me down. So it'll be I guess they're gonna have something planned later on what they're gonna do or how they're gonna tell the group because you're telling us now, so clearly you didn't let everybody else know at some point. Cece and Byron get to talking. And of course, again, she's telling Byron how the conversation went. And she told Byron that London was there. And he was like, London? Well, what's London doing there? And um she said, well, London was there. I guess she had some beef with me too. And Byron was like, see, I got a problem with that because your beef is with Kristen. London had nothing to do with that. And I got a problem with the fact that London is there. And then Byron was like, Kristen wants to go out and tell everybody how I don't spend time with my grandkid and how I don't come and see them, but they don't come and see me. And that goes both ways. It goes both ways and you ain't come and see me. So, for you to go out there, he said, so, Thomas is going to always be my son. That's never going to change. But if I don't never see Kristen again, I'm good. I was like, oh Lord, that's not good. That's not a good way to think, Byron. But he's hurt, and I mean, I'm not saying anybody is right or wrong in this whole situation, but he's definitely hurt by it. Lord have mercy. So, last but not least, honey, we're getting ready for this crystal party. The ladies are at the bar. We got the new girl, CB. We got because I thought it was Phoebe, but I think it's CB. We have Kristen. We have Kristen, CB, Evelyn, Shawnee. They went for, have a couple of cocktails before they went to the party. And guess who calls Miss Kristen? Jen. And Kristen puts Jen on speakerphone and, ask her about coming to the party. And she says she coming to the party but she ain't there for no shit. She ain't on no bullshit. She ain't trying to start no shit. And Lord have mercy. They were like, so of course Shawnee and Evelyn now are like, oh, it's that bullshit. But Jackie told y'all she was inviting everybody. So, don't act like you surprised that she coming. She told y'all she was inviting everybody. But, anyway. So we get to the crystal party. OG is there. I think everybody there except for Tammy. Tammy don't come to that shit. So Cece wasn't there either. Cece wasn't there either. But they're getting in. They went in the bag, they took their shoes off, they had meditation, and it seemed like, and then as soon as they got done with the meditation, here comes Jennifer. So Jackie says, you know what? Let's address the elephant in the room. Jennifer said, now I'm tall, but I ain't no damn elephant. But they proceed to have a conversation. And of course, Jennifer is being defensive and saying that she felt bad about what happened. And Evelyn was like, "Well, if you felt bad, why didn't you call Shanice? You never apologized to her." She said, "I never said anything about Shanice, and I felt bad about it too. Shanice is like a daughter to me." And she was like, "Exactly. You were like an aunt to her, and she felt really bad. And you never once, even if it wasn't true, you never once reached out to her." And Jennifer was like, "You know what? I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say, what not to say. I didn't know how to handle the situation," which I think is pretty honest that she did not, whether she's telling the truth or not, what she didn't know what to say or how to address it. Um, and Shawnee said, "Well, look, I tell you what, I'm done. I am done. I am done. I'm done. You crossed the line. You spoke about my children, and then you had the nerve to show up at my children's a party for my children." She said, "I choose to not have someone like you in my life. I'm good. I'm done. You don't need to be a part of my life, my children's life, and I'm done with it." And Evelyn said, you keep using your mom as an excuse. And Jennifer was like, "I'm not using my mother as an excuse." She said, "But do you know what it's like to lose a family member? I mean, lose your mom. You don't know what it's like to lose your mom." She said, you can't tell somebody how they're going to grieve and how to feel." And Evelyn was like, basically, Evelyn was like, "Screw you and I'm out." And she slammed that door, honey. She didn't want it. She said, "You should be ashamed of yourself. That's disrespectful to your mother to use your mother as an excuse for your bad behavior." I said, but Jen got to crying, honey, and got to talking about how hard it's been for her losing her mom. And she said, some days you're happy, some days you're sad. You just don't know. It's a process. And Shawnee was sitting there, honey, and Shawnee was like, "I can't leave you like this crying." Now, Evelyn didn't have no problem leaving her ass. But Shawnee went over and gave her a hug, and they sort of hugged it out or whatever. I'm not saying that they back in a perfect place, but in that moment, Shawnee did show some compassion for Jennifer. And again, Jackie was like, "See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Let's work it out. Let's hug it out. It's too much history here. We've been friends for too long to leave like this, to let it go." And that's pretty much where the episode ended. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments, please.